This episode of Just One Man podcast is brought to you by Tom and Co-Alc Alliance. Tom is a voluntary charity based in Merthyr Tydfil aiming to prevent suicide and support those bereaved by suicide. They provide free counselling to anyone struggling with suicidal thoughts or who has lost a loved one to suicide, and run support groups for anyone who has been bereaved by suicide. The charity covers Merthyr, RCT and Bridgend County Borough Councils. Tom are also founding members of the Co-Alc Alliance. The Co-Alc Alliance raise awareness about the risks of mixing cocaine and alcohol. Mixing cocaine and alcohol can lead to poor mental health and suicidal thoughts. If you or a loved one is struggling with cocaine use, please visit www.co-alc.org for more information. And for more information on the work of Tom, please visit www.fortom.org. This episode is also brought to you by Brynawel House. Brynawel House is a rehab based in a beautiful countryside setting in Llanharan, Wales. Brynawel offers opportunities for detox and rehabilitation for people struggling with addiction. The Brynawel team will give you the best support, tools and expertise to recover from your dependencies, to change your life and become the person you were meant to be. They offer affordable, evidence-based therapy programs tailored to each individual guest, and also well-being activities such as horticultural therapy, art therapy, gardening in our well-being allotments, gym visits, yoga and meditation. All rooms are single and en-suite, and to book a visit or for further information, please contact the team on 01443 226 864 or email contact@brynawelhouse.org. Thanks for sponsoring.
We here at Just One Man podcast openly endorse people speaking their truth, being honest and being open. As a result, some of the themes that we discuss may actually be triggering for you, either watching or listening to the podcast, wherever you are. Some of those themes may include suicide, substance abuse, and general mental health problems. And again, these may be triggering. So for that reason, viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Just One Man podcast. I'm shouting. I don't know why I'm shouting. There's no need for me to shout. Thank you for tuning in, whether it's on YouTube or whether you're joining us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music. We're back again here in the Iron Dragon, and we're joined by two individuals who I'm genuinely over the moon to have sat here, which is
long time coming.
It has been a long time coming, which is Mr. Paul Carpenter and Mr. Shaun Parfitt from Let's Talk Men's Mental Health. Welcome.
Hello, boys.
Right, we're all right. And I say that we wanted you on, and I'm not saying it because you sat here or because I've got any previous friendship or knowledge or whatever of any of either of you. But when we started this podcast, we kind of had an initial hit list of people that we thought we wanted to talk to and whose stories that we wanted to tell, and yours were on. It was on that list. So it's just really, we really appreciate you giving of your time and coming on. So let's talk men's mental health. You're up to what? Nearly 1,000 members on a closed Facebook.
992.
Someone in here.
About.
Which is incredible. I'm part of that. I see that it's a lot of activity, a lot of engagement, a lot of support. When you started, am I correct in saying, Paul, that you kind of came into the fold rather than being there at the very beginning? But obviously, Shaun, you and another gentleman, Michael Miles, kickstarted it. How did it come to be that Let's Talk Men's Mental Health was kind of created?
Well, truth be told, I was sort of third wheel to begin with.
Right, okay.
Because they started off Michael Miles and another lad called Gareth Morris. So they both started together. I think they both had a similar idea. There was a lot of suicides in our area at the time, all young men, all around our age, we're all similar ages. And there was no outlet for any of us. And I think me and Mike in particular were going through similar things at the same time. I was aware of Mike. I didn't really know him personally, but I was friends with Gareth at the time through Facebook. Seeing he shared this group, I thought that's all I need. They've gone to doctors, and there's all these groups are mixed or just women only. What's it for men, So I took the plunge, and it was literally me, him, and Gareth in the group. So not a lot being said. And then he just adds me into a message, and I just look, I don't want to be rude, but can I change the logo basically, because it's a duck, But it all made sense when he told me why it was a duck. But it started off as us three, and within the week he was come board as an admin, and it just snowballed from there. And then about 6 months in or so, Gareth decided to step away. He had other priorities and things like that to deal with. And then me and Mike just started scheming, and he was the brains behind the majority of the artwork we produce and the films we produce. I just got to put them together. So he is literally the mind behind it all at the start, and I was just along for the ride, I suppose.
I think, Paul, that you would agree with this as someone that knows Shaun. I think that's Shaun being Shaun, very humble.
At the bollocks hour.
That's from yours, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the most modest man you ever meet. And so he was, integral in all of that, despite what he's told to. Just be honest.
Trying to offset the blame, I think it was wrong.
No, I say there's no blame being thrown around here. Only love. We throw love on this podcast. And shade. Lots of shade. You know who you are. That person on Merthyr Tydfil matters. I won't leave that go. Anyway, but because I spoke to Jordan earlier on, and I explained kind of how I kind of found you as an organisation, and it was during the pandemic. And I think it's fair to say, because by that time you'd been running a while, but would you say that COVID and the pandemic, it did that to the group? Because it was exponential growth, because there just seemed to be such a need for people to connect, and the only way they could do it was on Twitter or on a Facebook group or on Zoom calls that you were having, or Skype calls, or and how big was that kind of increase in membership then at that time?
I think we went from the snowball effect of being very consistent growth to the lockdowns happening, and whereas I think we expected a big explosion at first, we're it's still consistent, and then once you sort of get one or two people talk about Skype calls and Zoom calls, it was just oh shit, now it's just gone into something else. We couldn't.
It's everyone knows about him now. They all want it.
Yeah, then we were looking at each other going shit, what is it that we do? What do we do? This is growing faster than we can even comprehend. And then it was fuck, we just go with the flow. That's that's what we've always done. Just carry on doing that. Yeah. And
and I think what the pandemic did was it forced people into communicating in a different way.
Yeah.
So up until then, nobody or hardly anybody would have used Skype or Zoom, and now all of a sudden everybody's on Skype.
Yeah, and people just use it normally now.
I never even heard of Zoom before March 2020.
It was easier to do. It's still a good dream, isn't it? But it was our normal method of communication. I had my 50th birthday smack bang in the middle, and it was a Zoom party where it was me and my family. I'm on camera, and then everyone else was on the laptop, and that was the party. So also married with people being trapped in their homes with their loved ones or on their own or wherever. So it was a perfect storm, really, of people needing communication, needing to talk, needing to just speak and
outside communication, apart from being stuck in,
and having a method of communication that was readily available then.
But not only that, you've gained them from COVID with people who were stuck in, but then you've also got, before the pandemic, you've had people probably come to you who have been housebound or not be able to leave pre-pandemic, and that then has gone, oh, I've got something to do now because of that, and so, because it's been blown up, the word has spread, and then they found that group and they've kind of joined on then, not because of COVID, but it is because of COVID, because that's what's highlighted your group, but then you've given opportunities then for people who were struggling with talking and stuff. They could have been doing that for the last 10 years, and then all of a sudden then they've got a lifeline to have.
I think that's a really important term, is lifeline, and I think that's what you've kind of given so many men of various ages and backgrounds and creed and whatever kind of category that you want to place a male into. It's undeniable how much that your organisation's helped men, and I know certainly during the pandemic, it was one of those things. I got to probably the summer, and it dawned on me, this isn't just a few weeks long type of thing. But I was still all right. I kept myself busy. I was losing weight by doing the couch to 5K. I was keeping myself busy. I was hopeful of, maybe by Christmas. And then you have that fire break, and then that last minute lockdown, and then it's, oh my God, is this what life's going to look like? Because this isn't living. This isn't what life is. But I remember actively searching online for, as you said, a men's equivalent, a men's mental health group. Because on the surface, I was doing all right, and I needed to be strong. I had my wife, who was my partner at the time, when we're living together, and that's got its own stresses of kind of, as you said, being kind of trapped in the household and that. But I came across you completely accidentally. But I remember being drawn to the authenticity of it, and just the openness, and just there seemed to be so many different stories, but everybody was supported, which I think is such a credit, and I think it still happens now. And obviously one of the most vocal members may or may not be sat to my immediate left, because I remember seeing you, you were such a kind of this kind of, right, we're getting through it, and there was lots of positivity. You were bringing so many men up and kind of pulling these lads up alongside whatever you may have had going on at that period as well.
I'd reached that point, fortunately, where I'd stopped caring about the stigma of saying what I was going through, and that's how I got involved in the first place, was being so exhausted with my mental health that I couldn't lie about why I was off work anymore. I went down the gym, and bit of banter. Oh, he's off work again. He works for the council, etc. And I was so exhausted about hiding everything. I just said, no, my head's gone. My head's gone, and I'm yearning, and I'm trying to get better. And it's like, oh, so what's happened? And then I said it, and I was suicidal. And then, she had, right, okay. And there was 7 of us in this gym. And I come out and said it, and then 2 blokes said, I've had thoughts like that, and I'm like, yeah, we've got to work on our, we have to work on ourselves because there's scary thoughts, etc. So that's me and the other 2 others, and we had a chat, and it was great. And then after my gym session, I walked out, and there was one of the boys who was in the corridor waiting, and he wanted to chat. And he said, look, I've had my problems. It was nice, listening to you, just being open and honest. Yeah, you know what? And we had a chat. And then I got in the car, and there was a boy waiting outside. And he tapped on the window, and he wanted to chat. So out of 7 boys on a Wednesday afternoon in Doneravel, 5 of them had or were having mental health issues. And I thought, this is epidemic.
Yeah.
This is epidemic. And on the drive home, it's literally 2 minutes. I felt so relieved because nobody knew this now. My wife, nobody knew. And I felt such a weight off. And I thought, that's what we got to do.
I bet you probably felt like as well, like, it's not just me. There's not like I'm broken or there's something wrong with just me. I'm one of many in this position who need the help.
And I tell you what helped, and this is bad, I know, but one of the boys who opened up after I did, I'd seen him bench 150k, right? This is an absolute animal, right? An absolute animal. And I have told him, he has no idea how him saying I had problems when everybody would have thought, well, I mean, this boy, he is, he's like a local legend. Yeah. And he said, and I thought, well, it really helped that there was this man was. And you said, yeah, and I said, I'm fucked. And everybody was saying, we're all fucked. And I'm like, well, we'll just do something about it. And that's when I went on a huge ego trip, as you do when you get involved in this. You want to change the world all of a sudden. So I went home and I was going to do it, and I was going to call it Paul's Club, and it was going to be, we're off down Paul's Club and all this. And then I thought, is anybody else doing it? And then I looked, and then it was these boys, and I thought, they're doing exactly what I want to do. And I thought, well, let's just see what they do.
Yeah.
And then I contacted you, and we came over, and I came over to the Spoons in Aberdare, and had a meeting with him and one of the boys, Rocky. And we just clicked, and that was it. I didn't do Paul's club, and I did. The stop men's mental health. And then I met Mike, and I was like, and this is a good thing, Josh, I was like you, I was like a gazelle. It was all this enthusiasm and all this. And I think that's what you need, like every now and then, is a person to come in and go, well, let's inject a bit more.
I agree. I think you need, you know, every group, every kind of undertaking, like, you know, like anything to do with this type of passion, you need someone that, you know, if you just say, right, run through that wall for me, they would do it because they believe, you know, in the cause. Like, you know, I think what you're saying as well, it kind of resonates because on so many different levels, because there is that perception, isn't there? And you mentioned the one particular individual who was kind of this local legend. And he's a beast of a man. He's a man mountain, and you look at him and you think, Christ alive, if he's struggling, what hope have any of us got? Yeah. And I think that's so relatable for so many people, because I think just through society and culture in general, I think we kind of knowingly or unknowingly we put other people on pedestals, and we think, oh well, people who are struggling are like this, and people who aren't struggling are like this. And then when you see someone from the other camp, thinking, oh, hang on a minute, well, that doesn't seem right. Well, no. So I think, you know, but then as you said, you've got that collective thing of, right, okay, well, if he's sacked and I'm fucked and we're all fucked, then let's be fucked together. Yeah. And let's try and, you know, and let's try and sort it out. Like, I'm not going to lie, I am gutted that you didn't at least consider, you know, renaming it Paul's Club, but at least having an offshoot, a CIC.
A uni Paul's Club.
Yeah.
And what he does in Tolerable's up there.
That's what you mean, I bet if you go into Tolerable, there's banners.
A bronze statue that you've got to rub on the way in.
What's the falls in the statue, huh?
Well, you have to come over and have a rub on it when...
we have to go over.
Oh dear, we're a family show. I say that every day. I have to. But you know, I think and again, you have the different elements. And you said before we started filming about kind of the dynamic between certainly you and Shaun, where kind of Shaun's kind of laid back and a bit more, whereas you are the kind of, right, let's do this. And that's really important.
It is.
Because, especially when you're dealing with, you know, because when you said about the kind of the ego trip, I can completely relate. And I think all of us here to a degree can, because when it clicks and you think, right, that's it. We all want our own kind of club. Because we think, right, we are going to be the ones to do it.
And we can save the world.
And we can save the world. And then it's only...
today.
Yeah.
No.
Everybody in the world.
Yeah.
I want to see everybody in the world now.
Even if they don't want saving. I'm going to, you know... And I'm going to say women as well. I'm going to say women. And I'm going to say dogs. And I come in for all of you. It's you know, it is. But I think it's really relatable.
But I think that's down to the like, passion you have behind it as well. Yeah. Like, you've got to have an impulse thought into different meetings you have, and you take other people's thoughts, and it's like you can switch them back on them, and they like, well, look at it from this point of view, and it's like, oh yeah, maybe. And it's nice to see the dynamic change as well.
Yeah, so you were saying that that you want to save the world. You're on that momentum run. You're 5-6 weeks in now. You're running. You've got so many people now. You're listening to everyone, but then you go home and you don't realise how much that affects your own mental health then, again, because we were talking earlier, It was like you're listening to this person, you're helping. Your momentum's going, your adrenaline's going, you're helping, and then you're like, oh, and then you've got time to reflect then of what you've just done for the past 6 weeks, and how many people's lives is totally different, but still, like we've said, there's no sort of blueprint to how bad people's are, or there's no competition of this is worse than him, blah blah blah. And then you just time to reflect, and you're like, oh,
I think it's, and I got to be honest, and I get that, right? And I think it comes back to, again, something that we spoke about off camera about the feeling of wanting to help everyone. And it's something that you kind of subconsciously sign up for. And you do sign up to help numerous people and take people's problems on. Because there is a bit of like a saviour complex where you think I need to help that because they come into me, but then you don't think, oh my God, it's dragging me down. I think there is that. I think that I think it's difficult.
Does affect you, I think, a little bit, but I think because you're already taking on that role of I'm helping somebody, you're helping them. See, you getting a positive out of it. So although you're taking some of their problems away from them, you're still getting positive out of helping them. So it doesn't affect you as it is affecting them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And there is, and there is that element of it. It's you do feel good. That you've helped. If that's your nature, there's obviously people out there. It's not in their nature, but. The fact that we're all here now, it's obviously in our nature because we don't do it for the money because it is done.
No.
But we obviously have a nature where we just like helping people, and also I think I have a resource which is my own experience, and that can help others. So I'm often asked how can you do this? And I always say, how can I not? You know what I mean? It's.
I've got it in me ready to go, and I know.
Why would you want to defeat yourself before you've tried to do
why
something?
would you just
Let's have a go
It's
first.
happened to me, and also it really does. In a selfish way, I had an element of time where how I was, and that I had the. Suicide thoughts and plans. I hated that about myself. I hated that I reached that point. But if I'm honest with you now, I'm glad it happened because a lot of good has come out of it.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of one-to-one interventions, and that would have happened. And that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't had been in that dark place myself. So I actually don't hate it that it happened.
Yeah, and like when you were in that dark place, you reached out as well, and that's what it's about. And that's why we sit in all here around the table now. Is there is help out there. Like there's so many places that you can go to help, whether it's in the daytime, nighttime. Just
There is now. There wasn't.
No, but there was.
There wasn't then. Everyone's doing it now. That's wrong.
It goes again back to the fact of talking makes your life. You change your life about talking. It's like when you're in a dark place, you don't want to go out and tell everybody because you think, oh God, I don't want to speak to him. But then by talking, where you think nobody's going to listen to me, nobody's going to have the same problem as me, I'm just going to quit at life. I'm not going to be here. It's going to end up. But then you've spoke, and then all of a sudden 5 people, you've gained 5 friends, 5 people in the same situation as you. And then that's how it's come to you still being you. And I think that it needs to relate to more men out there that, again, talking is.
And I didn't tell anyone at all. I've been watching my boy pre-football, and I've been thinking, I hope he gets a hat-trick, because I know I'm going to be here next week. Which, you know, joking with all the other parents, and thinking, oh, this is the last game I'm ever going to see, because I had that plan.
Yeah.
Which I now know is not an action, and this is my opinion, and this is what I have to say. Everything that's in this podcast and everything I say is only my opinion. I'm not generalising anybody. I'm not an expert in mental health. I am a bit of an expert in my mental health, so I'm only saying what I think. And what happened to me was those suicidal thoughts came as a result of absolute exhaustion. I'd only slept an hour a night for 8 weeks. If I slept for 2 hours, I was ecstatic because I'd had double the sleep. It was an exhausted, broken brain that was just coming up with the wrong answers. What's extremely worrying is I remember it being, well, that's a very good idea. And that's the only message. There's only one message I want to say across is, if you have any thoughts and it looks like a good idea, your brain's not working as it should at the moment, through whatever reason, exhaustion, grief, whatever reason, it's not a common sense thought, but it's extremely common. And I thought I was a freak. I thought I was the only one. I had this amazing life, 2 lovely kids, a lovely wife, I had a job, I had it all. And it was like, why on earth? But I got a theory about that.
Trying to work out the little bits that are building up to the big bit to make your brain think what the fuck's going on. And like obviously you say, like, there's loads of help out there now. And obviously when you were struggling, there was probably not as much help as there is now. Like, how did you cope then with, like, there not being that much help out there?
I just had to sort it myself. And it took a bizarre thought for me to realise that my brain wasn't working properly. I'll explain it very quickly if that's okay. You can edit it out after. So I reached a point where I wasn't functioning as a human being. I couldn't empty a dishwasher. I could get up. I couldn't be as I saw a proper father to my kids. I couldn't take them down the park. I couldn't do anything. I was broken, exhausted. That was it. Absolutely pointless human being. So what's the point of being around? Yeah, they'll be upset for about a fortnight, a month, I thought, and then they'll realise if I'm not here, they're better off. Okay, if I'm not here, right, that's done. They'll be better off. Okay, because I hear about the selfish stuff, or so for selfish. All the interventions I've done, the people have said they're better off if I'm not here. So they're actually thinking they're doing people a favour.
Yeah.
Again, that's a brain that isn't, in my opinion, working properly. So there was a place that I was going to do it, all sorted, and it was this forestry, and it was a forestry locally where we told our boys that the Gruffalo lived, right? Okay. The snake is there, the owl is up there, the Gruffalo is up over there, and I absolutely loved this forestry. And when I thought, yeah, that's where I'm going to do it, I went, oh, you can't do it there. It'll ruin the Gruffalo for the boys. And I can remember it now, exactly. I thought, if that's all that you were thinking that it will affect people is by ruining the Gruffalo story, you're not thinking straight. And then it's like, hang on, I'm not thinking straight here. And then it just dawned on me, oh, I'm just coming out with the wrong answers here. Okay, why am I coming out with the wrong answers? I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, it was a whole host of stuff. And then I thought, right, well, I got to fix that. Sleep is the most important thing. So I had to fix that first. And then I got an hour, and then I got 2 hours, and I got 3 hours, and all of a sudden. And then that's when I started having better thoughts. But I just hung in there. But, yeah, the Gruffalo saved my life. Yeah? It's...
Well, I think, to be honest, I think that we're all of us here, I think we're very thankful that the Gruffalo saved your life, to be honest. And it's interesting what you say, and that whole concept, like I said, of the brain not working correctly, because if you think from a basic instinct, like a basic human instinct, not the basic instinct, but Charleston,
it doesn't work.
Not that one. But the basic instinct is to survive.
Yeah.
It's, it's the same reason as if you kind of try to like punch yourself, you will never put a normal working brain that will never be able to put the force in, because your body is saying, well, no, I don't want to be hurt. Yeah. I don't want to be hurt. It's the same reason that when you fall, you try to stop it because you don't want to hurt. So I totally agree that I think that when these things happen, there is something happens, and obviously, we had Mark Collins, very, very, very good friend of ours, on to talk about his experience.
What a human being.
Well, yeah, that goes out. Yeah,
him and his wife.
Yeah,
I curtsied when I met her first. I felt he was in detox. It was. I met and I felt I had to.
She is.
Curtsy.
She is. Well, she's like the queen of your getting.
Well, yeah.
I think we all curtsy to Madeline. Mark definitely does. He knows he's having one off her. But I think with what Mark said about how it was explained to him, and he used that term, it was a heart attack of the mind. So when Kerry decided it kind of was a heart attack, and that saying has really stuck with me. And then when you kind of said that of, kind of you just you aren't you type thing, it kind of it's a different, it's you, but it's a different version of it. It's almost like a slightly,
I like to say it's just like a you just getting through a day.
But it's
and you just can't function. You're just there, but you just can't function.
I couldn't do anything.
I think it's amazing that you got to that thought, and it's like the Gruffalo is like, what am I doing? Yeah.
Well, I'm never going to look at a Gruffalo.
No, it's do you know, there's your Gruffalo. I'm just going to think,
but it's I don't know. It's out of the brain actually got there. The brain's a fascinating thing. It's a horrible, wonderful, fucked up thing, isn't it? The brain.
Tell us about it. This episode of Just One Man podcast is brought to you by For Tom and Co-Alc Alliance. For Tom is a voluntary charity based in Merthyr Tydfil, aiming to prevent suicide and support those bereaved by suicide. They provide free counselling to anyone struggling with suicidal thoughts or who has lost a loved one to suicide, and run support groups for anyone who has been bereaved by suicide. The charity covers Merthyr, RCT and Bridgend County Borough Councils. For Tom are also founding members of the Co-Alc Alliance. The Co-Alc Alliance raise awareness about the risks of mixing cocaine and alcohol. Mixing cocaine and alcohol can lead to poor mental health and suicidal thoughts. If you or a loved one is struggling with cocaine use, please visit www.co-alc.org for more information. And for more information on the work of For Tom, please visit www.fortom.org. This episode is also brought to you by Brynawel House. Brynawel House is a rehab based in a beautiful countryside setting in Llanharan, Wales. Brynawel offers opportunities for detox and rehabilitation for people struggling with addiction. The Brynawel team will give you the best support, tools and expertise to recover from your dependencies, to change your life and become the person you were meant to be. They offer affordable, evidence-based therapy programs tailored to each individual guest, and also well-being activities such as horticultural therapy, art therapy, gardening in our well-being allotments, gym visits, yoga and meditation. All rooms are single and en-suite, and to book a visit or for further information, please contact the team on 01443 226 864 or email contact@brynawelhouse.org. Thanks for sponsoring. In terms of Gruffalo's, Shaun,
Do I look like one or?
do you have kind of a point where, you know, like you mentioned earlier, you know, where you thought, you know what, I'm not doing so good, I need to sort it out. You know, what's the kind of the story there, if you don't mind going into it?
No, I think mine was a very long, slow burn. Like, it was problems in work, problems like socially. I had like two really good friends that, God, like they seemed the best and the worst of me. I used to go kickboxing with them. But outside of that, I didn't really socialise with anybody, and I don't think you realise you've done it until you realise that, like, when you've been that vulnerable with just two people, and you realise these are the only people in the world that have ever seen, like, the real me outside of my partner, it's like the world all of a sudden is really small. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, instead of comforting me, which I should have, that almost was like, oh shit, I was being ungrateful, really. I was like, I got nothing. Like, no, you've got an amazing missus, you've got a little boy, you've got two friends that will go to the end of the earth for you. That's far beyond nothing. But my brain was just like, again, it was like an irrational thought and rational mind going, oh, this doesn't work, this isn't right. And I had like a comment would set me off, you know, or just like make me angry and on this, like the other. And generally, I'm not an angry person, not an aggressive person. But it was like everything was just ticking me off. Every little comment was annoying. I was short-tempered, couldn't understand why a baby couldn't do certain things. I was sitting there and like, this is just ridiculous. She was like, he's 6 months old. Yeah. What do you want him to do? Why didn't he work it?
Why did he clean a car?
It's the stupid things. And when you say it, you're like, what are you saying? Yeah. But then the pride thing kicks in, and then you just like, you double down. Yeah. And I was like, just being an arsehole. I was in training one day, gloving up, and then just one thought crossed my mind. I couldn't even tell what it is now. And I just started crying. My friend turns around and he's like, obviously getting his gloves on. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Just like gloves. And it was like, there was no embarrassment about crying in front of him. It just felt like this was the safest place on earth I could be. And then his brother rocks up, who was my other good friend. And it was just like, between the pair of them, it was just so normal that this was okay. Like, men are supposed to cry. It's just normal. And we'd spoke about it, and we're very open about things, that yet being vulnerable was completely different, and yet it was just as normal as we were about to be punching each other in 5 minutes, you know. And it was just as normal as that, you know. And I left it, like all the way home, I was like, oh, this is so stupid. Went to bed that night, and it was just things that were like racking on my brain, the things they were saying. I'm like, oh, maybe I have got more going on than what I'm making out, you know. I'm trying to like downplay it, as we all do. And then it was one of the things like, tomorrow game, I'm right today. Yeah, because I'm letting it out a little bit, and then released that valve. And then I all of a sudden, drinking started to increase. So I already had like a drink regular, and then it was increasing. And that happened over a couple of year period. And then I remember waking up one day, and it was just like, I said to her, I just don't feel right. And she just said, 2 options. You either get out of bed to get the doctors, or you stay there and you figure it out. Either way, you're going to figure something out. And at the time, I thought, that's that, isn't it? But that's exactly what I needed.
Needed just to be, come on, sort yourself out.
Yeah, and I just thought, that's really heartless. But then, on the way to the doctors, because she took me, I was thinking, yeah, but look at all of you put her through it to now. Look at all, like...
When you start reflecting back.
Yeah, and I was thinking, oh my God, you get with somebody, you sell them a dream, don't you? Yeah, your dream partner, you know, give her the world, and then a couple of years in, oh, by the way, I can't stop fucking drinking, and I'm useless, like. And I've also got to pack my job in 2 weeks after Christmas, and she just rode with it, and the doctor was like, what do you want me to do about it? He's like, I've been telling you you're on this path for years. Yeah, but telling me isn't helping you. I'm giving you an option. And that's what we give you a leaflet with arts and craft group. I was like, that's not for me. Women's only groups say, well, obviously you can't believe. I was like, right. Or there's mixed groups. And I was like, where's the men's group, And this was years prior to us starting anything. Got home, tablets, took some that just made me feel like a zombie for weeks on end. And then the same two lads then, unfortunately lost their dad, and I was going to visit one of the boys, and I it was like, part of my brain felt sad, but part of me was like, wasn't really like, didn't mean, that the sadness didn't really mean much, because like, the tab was just a zombified. I just knew then, like, I can't do this anymore. And so I just fully decided then, like, job's been packed in, I got to start everything afresh, I got to start becoming a father. And then I remember the following day, first thing I did, go to the shop, bought drink. Got home, tipped the street down the drain. I was like, you're never going to change. Next day, did the exact same thing again. But that morning, I woke up and looked in the mirror, and I didn't know who was looking back. And I was like, oh shit, this isn't just like, it's like, oh, you look old, or you look haggard, or you just look a mess. It was like, who the hell is looking back? It's like, who is this person? It was almost as if it was somebody else in my mirror, like. And then I still went and bought a drink. And then I took it down the drain again. I was like, I can't afford to keep doing this thing. And I was up late one night, and I remember thinking, if I go for a walk, and I just keep walking, there's going to be a point where I just disappear. And then the similar thing, and it was like, this is going through my mind all night. Sun comes up, and I was like, that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. But in the middle of the night, I had seen a little girl in between my living room and my kitchen, which was basically like, I'd have to scare the shit out of me. I wasn't going anywhere. Like, I was the only way out of the house. I was like, well, I can't go in the kitchen for anything, so I'm not going anywhere yet. Like, wait till the sun comes up, before she gets out of bed, I'll leave, and then no fuck else to worry about it. But I was like, by the time the sun had come up and you start freaking thinking straight again, I was like, that's just stupid. You're not going to just disappear. Like, somebody's going to find you. And then it was just like another one of them things. It was like, you've got to sort your shit out. Like, it's not good just saying, I'm not going to drink anymore. It's not good just saying, I'm going to take one to the park more. I'm going to be a bit less short-tempered. You've actually got to start sorting your shit out. And then that lasted for about maybe a year. Then I unfortunately lost a really good friend to suicide, and it was like, right, shit really has to get serious now, because he's gone that way, you've gone that way, you've dodged a bullet, yeah. You could have easily been on the other end, seen all the heartache from his family, his daughters and things. It's just like, there's so many people around me losing lives, like best friends losing fathers, best friends losing their lives and things like this. It was just like, I just can't do that to my family, like, But still the stubbornness of like, tomorrow comes around and I'm okay. But it weren't really until I spoke to Mike about all of this stuff, and he said to me, I recorded like a 15-20 minute video just offloading everything. I just thought, I'm not fucking doing that. And it was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, because I was still in the routine of being up late, even though I wasn't drinking. I was like, let's just give it a go. What's the worst going to happen is I just delete it. I went down to my basement, recorded it, thought I had nothing off in it. And I had like the first proper night's sleep I'd had in probably years. I uploaded to Facebook, and then you start realising how like it's affecting other people. Yeah. And it's like another thing, and you're like, you've got to stick to this shit, and you've got to be better, like, And it's just all went from there, like.
So not much then?
No, man. Just
that. So, there's a lot to unpack there. In terms of, that idea of, I'm just going to walk and I'm just going to keep going. I think it's something that, again, is relatable. I think for people who have struggled, because you just want to leave, you want to get out of it, you don't care where you go as long as you're not there. And you kind of kid yourself, I think, to think, well, if I just leave the place, then it leaves the problems, but the problem is in your head and it tends to go with you. So I always found that kind of an interesting concept that, you know, the people like try to leave and you know, and I certainly had periods when I was a little younger to where I was, I'm gonna go and you know, much the same, you know, I don't know where I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna go, and then you know, something will happen, and then I won't be someone's problem, but then I won't be my own problem, and then all of a sudden you start there thinking, well, no, because I'm still going to feel like this. It doesn't matter if I'm here or Cardiff or Birmingham or London, you're going to feel exactly the same. The little girl, what's that? What's the symbolism of that? Do you have any thoughts on that, or
no idea? Because I got two little boys, I had one little boy at the time, and it was just like there was just like this little. It was odd because it was like she was there but not there. Like I could almost see her now exactly as she looked as a little blonde girl. She had like a little pink dress on, like almost as if she was like dressed up smart to go somewhere. But she had a raincoat on over the top of it, like open, and I was like, that's a fucking peculiar thing to be wearing, isn't it? But I was like, well, because I was just shit scared. I was like, well, I can't go to my fucking kitchen now because she's fucking out there in the place. Like, in
fairness, small children late at night alone, we've watched enough horror films to know they are freaky.
Yes.
Anyone that's watched The Shining, say you see, you see anything like that, and you know, like, you know, obviously I've got you know, like I've got a 6-month-old, right, and I love him dearly, but I am absolutely shitting myself for that first night when he's big enough to come into the bedroom at night and they just like stand next to the bed, and I'm shitting myself for that because I know my instinct will just be to lash out, and then it'll be, Mark, you've hit the child.
Throw no boy out the window.
It was either him or me. But no, I find that really kind of interesting in kind of in that it was maybe the subconscious, for whatever reason, manifesting as that image.
Something saying no, don't do it like.
But something there that's kind of
I've got a theory about this with the brain, because I have a theory. You know, again, I have to say this is only my own theory. That, and I know it happened with me because I ignored all of the early signs that I was exhausted and I was in a state, which is the normal, you know, early signs of exhaustion, wanting to sleep all the time. But we power through, wanting IBS, heart palpitations. I was in work once and my eyes just closed up, just swole up and closed. But because, you know, we'll ignore it and we'll power through and we'll it's my theory that if you ignore all of these signs that your brain is saying, I need rest, you are exhausted, you are broken, I am sending you a sign of IBS that things are not right. Because when everything's all right, unless it's a medical, obviously, but, you know, when everything's all right, you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you're laughing, everything's okay. But when you aren't, there's the signs, and I honestly think that your brain raises this game, right? And then it reaches a point, and I honestly think it happened with me where I went, well, I had internal bleeding, right? It was, I done everything here. Could tell his Nimrod that he needs to look at what is happening. What can I do? I'm scared him. I'm gonna scare him. I'm gonna throw suicide in. That'll have him. That'll wake him up. because I remember the first ever thought, and it was like, what the is that thought? And I was really scared. It really scared me. It didn't make it. Early on, I said it made perfect sense. That was after a while. The first initial thought was, where did that come from? What was that about? I honestly think, with me, it was the brain going, well, you've ignored all that other stuff. Because what I do now is the early signs, I act on the early signs, and then it doesn't reach that point. No. So I honestly think, coming back to you, that your brain went, what's going to make him not move way back to the Shining? If I do something like that, and I think the brain, like you said, is an amazing thing. I honestly think it might have been that as what can I do to protect him? Because deep down, and I said this on a lot of interventions I've done, and if this isn't sort of appropriate, we can edit it out. But because it is a hard, hard comment. Suicide as a physical act is easy. As a physical act, any one of us now, we could go and do it now. But when you don't, really, really, really deep down, obviously your brain is saying, no, I'll shock you, I'll do this or I'll do that, but I'm not letting you. I've really dealt with so many people who have said, I just could have driven off, or I just could have done this, I just could have, but you didn't. So I think it's your brain, your subconscious.
Well, it's like they said, it's a survival instinct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say about TikToks. You've got to do something with our voice, because honestly, right?
Yeah, we were on.
It mesmerised the whole audience.
Yeah, it was like
when
We were a bit like, we were all sitting there thinking, right, this is either going to go amazing, or some people are going to think it's a little bit awful.
It's going to be
Like,
but
everyone literally, as your voice started, literally just nowhere to look.
and we're looking at the
engrossed in the voice.
Well, the biggest thing that we needed to get across was that I wasn't dead, because I wasn't there, because obviously it was just a photo of me and then a voiceover, and Hannah Phillips, who we love dearly, who kind of was instrumental in putting TID Talks together. Hannah
leader.
Hannah had this, Hannah had this big thing where she went, we need to make sure people know that you're not dead, because I wasn't there on the actual night. I was away. I was away with family, and
as Jimmy said, playing Jenga with Rick Stein on the beach.
Well, I was knackered in Cornwall in a chip shop that the last orders were 7:15. But no, and I appreciate that, like I said, and for us it was about kind of that whole evening was really special. I'm really proud and privileged that I was able to be part of it. And obviously, Josh, you did a piece, and Paul, you was so unbelievably amazing.
Well, that's very kind of him.
And when it does come out, and it is being brought out, it's been rebranded.
It's been rebranded
as Boys Speak, I think it is now. But I hope that where they've needed to edit, fair enough. But I genuinely hope, as someone who was privileged enough to have sat there and listened to it on multiple occasions, I really hope that yours is left intact, because it was warm, it was funny, it was real, it was sad, but it was you, and I think it was amazing.
I think me and Mark in rehearsals were actually lying across the chairs laughing.
I was in absolute stitches. And
That's very kind of you.
I
I just enjoy doing it, and anyone watching this who don't know me is probably thinking he speaks funny. Well, yeah, I do speak funny. I have a stammer, and that's what the talk is about, isn't it? About
well, we've actually slowed down. This is on double speed.
Yeah, I know. Because it's.
They've had to put £5 in the meter.
I know, and this is the issue. It's I mean, even now I say something and a person goes, "Wow," I'm like, it took me long to say the person. I am not just saying it again. It's easy as that, but
And as someone, I think I mentioned it in one of the early read-throughs. I had like 7 years worth of speech therapy when I was younger, and I haven't really shut up since. As my dearly departed grandmother used to play a game with me. Who can stay quiet the longest? She'd play, and I'd somehow always lose. But I remember when you were talking, the first time I heard it, I could feel myself filling up hearing you talk about it, because I resonated with so many things. Like, I remember trying to talk in a rhythm and rocking back and forth. So you get, and there were certain words that I just had to avoid. And it wasn't that I didn't know how to say them or that I didn't understand them. It's that it would get to you and your brain goes, no, and then no. And I remember, a lot of people over time have said, you say big words, you've got a big vocabulary. I had to learn. I had to learn lots of words in the dictionary, because I needed to basically have like a thesaurus in my brain. So if I couldn't say the one word, I had an alternate so that I could carry on a conversation. Yeah. But it really resonated with me.
As a coping mechanism, isn't it?
And I've never said this to you, so I'm going to say it now publicly. I want to personally thank you for sharing that story, because it meant a lot personally to me. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. It is a rare thing. I remember I went to totally comprehensive. You say, what? See that then? I said, because Treorchy comp is a hard word, so you
weave your way
into the words that your brain knows is going to get stuck on. For years I never said change. I always said alter. Because alter, and exactly as you said, you wonderful man, you just plus the brain again adapted. You're half a second ahead of everything. Yeah, I can see that, and I can see this one, and but it is rare. There's not many people about, and because I remember being in totally comprehensive, where it was a big comp, then 1,500 pupils, and way back when everybody had break at the same time. And if you know totally comp, there's the sort of it is elevated in parts, and I remember looking out over what seemed like 1,000 people, and I knew I was the only one.
Yeah, and it is. It's very isolated. It's like, really isolated.
How isn't anyone else talk like this? And it just if you want to feel broken, then be the only person out of an entire school who's different.
Yeah.
And we got through it in me, and
well, yeah, like I had to take art, like creative and artistic changes when I was in infant school, because I had to sing Dr. Foster Went to Gloucester, and I couldn't say certain things, so I had to change the words, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't do that." It's a well, I don't care. I got to do it to get through the rhyme. Otherwise, what do you want? Like people got jobs to go to, people got homes to go to. I can't just have them dress you in a cape with a top and a monocle. I'm 6.
Yeah.
but it was, you know, but it is, you know, yeah.
Coping mechanisms of whatever is wrong with them, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, like I watched that, I watched The King's Speech.
I can't.
And I remember going, I watched it in the cinema, funny enough, and I was with my mother, and my mother got quite teary when he was teaching him the coping mechanisms. And I didn't really acknowledge it until we left, and I said, "Are you all right?" And she said, "Oh yeah." And I said, "Oh, he got a bit upset." And said, "Oh," she said, "it's just it's hard." She said, "Because she said I saw that and I thought of you." And it used to wind my nan up no end, because obviously one of the major things that family and friends are told is, listen, no matter how much he's struggling, don't finish a sentence from. Don't do it, because it doesn't help, it hinders.
Yeah, but they mean well.
But they mean well. But you'd be sat there and you'd be like, oh, but I wanted to say that. I've been trying for 20 minutes.
But what people don't understand is I call it copy the game show. Let's try and work out what word he's trying to say. Now, I am the best at copy the game show because I know what I want to say. I am 100% accurate in copy the game show. Do you know who isn't all that good?
Every
single other person I've ever met who is trying to work out what the word is in my head.
I have a guess. It's normally 4 letters, but it's...
Well, yeah. That's a numbers game, Harry. But yeah, we all have our things, and that was my thing. And said in the TED talk, it was great. He ought to have done it because
Well, there may be another one. There may be another one. Hannah, if you're out there, no doubt she's already.
She always gets mentioned every single. She
does. She does.
Mentioned.
Do you think that we can get her to come on? She's always running somewhere.
Running and
plotting. But no, if you do get the opportunity to watch the film that I was put together, I've got no doubt it's fantastic, and there's some really.
You'll have to see my face first.
You will have to see Josh's face first, which I would know.
It goes up,
Oh yes, it does.
It goes up then.
It does improve quite substantially. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but what I will say is that the ending is a genuine showstopper. And I will say that. I won't say anything more. But the individual who's involved, as we spoke about, is very well respected by us. And I can tell you that in every rehearsal, when you would get up to do your bit, he would find me in the room, and he'd say, "Gonna do it. He's gonna do it." And he'd honest, but I think that's again, you kind of come full circle almost, and you say about kind of togetherness. And even though all our stories were very different, we were all there for the same reason. We had that shared, that commonality. And yeah, I personally love what Let's Talk Men's Mental Health are doing. I love what you're both doing. I think it's incredible.
He's as honest as ever. He's the brains outfit. He's the arty one. The work he does visually is
he's going the same colour you want to paint the bathroom.
He's I trying to think of a nicer human being, but I can't.
It's hard, isn't it? It is hard.
But that's the modesty of him. But we just plodding on, and we just doing little bits, here and there. Every now and then, as you know, you can't go full pelt all the time. We've got families, we've got commitments and jobs, so
you've got to have your time.
Every now and then we'll have a run at it, and we'll do a little something. But it seems that what we're doing at the moment is is it was working, and it's sort of the Facebook group. We call it Army in the Pocket, don't we? And there's a lot of boys I know who never never comment or anything. But if you look at the stats, they're coming back, back and back and back, and it's having a safety net of, well, I don't need you today, boys, but I know there's 1,000 boys that if I do need you,
I know, like the Facebook group, like you say, like they see what's posted on it. They just not put. They don't need to post on it, but they can still see what's. They still taking in thoughts and that sort of stuff.
And if they're coming back all the time, it's obviously doing something. Good. And we'll just carry on what we're doing.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smashing, boys.
I think that's us.
I think that is us.
I think that's us. Obviously, it goes without saying, but I can say it anyway. A huge thank you to you, Shaun, and to you, Paul, for joining us. We are humbled, and
I've been looking forward to this.
And me too. Massively. And I mentioned it last night to Mr. Collins, and he was like, "Ooh, that'll be good." So thank you very much, both for giving of your time. We're really grateful. Thank you as well to the sponsors for this episode, which were Fort Tom and the Co-Alc Alliance and Brynawel House Treatment Centre. Your support's really, really appreciated. We will be back very soon.
Very, very soon.
Very, very soon. It won't be very, very soon to you as a viewer or a listener. But for us, we're literally recording in 2 days. But we'll see you soon. And until then, keep safe, enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you around the corner. Goodbye. Ta-ra.